Boom. Welcome to Sunday night. All coins of Manny. So yeah, as I was saying, this is NFL all day. What this is the actual NFTs for the NFL. And you can see that this is licensed by the NFL and the NFLPA. And so this for me, this is very specific because at the end of the day, when you see licensing, you know that that's the reality. So like for instance, it's the same as NBA Top Shot. You get a moment. This is a closed beta. So right now, like unless you were invited to the closed beta, you didn't get in. You would know if you were there, but you get to have this. The marketplace will be the next thing that gets released. They haven't released the marketplace yet. So like if you're brand spanking, you're like, what is this? How come I can't get in? Because right now you're in a closed beta. So if you go to this website, NFL All Day, it'll say closed beta. And then you can just pretty much start your packs, build a collection, and then the marketplace hasn't come yet. But then the floor price right now is going to be the roughly about the packs. The packs are roughly about 49, so $50 to $60. So divide them by 3, that's the floor price for most of the stuff. So it's pretty dope. I think the NFL in the United States of America, I know the NFL in the United States of America is one of the largest games, if not the largest games. So anything involving the NFL, I'm straight about it because I know that they have a large marketing. So like for instance, like I got this the other day. I got 2 of these, so you already know I'm selling one of these. It'll be this one because it's a higher number, but you can see the mint count only 85, 85, 85, 10,000, 10,000, 10,000. And then the Super Bowl one comes out next week. So this Friday, I will be in the line for that. So the Pro Bowl one, I got that. I have an interesting story about the last week one. I was actually in the line, and then it took so long. I ended up missing the line. I was so cheesed because it was just being part of this part is cool because then when they release the market's going to be the cards that I have. So I'm pretty confident that there's going to be a big market for this. I'm pretty confident in it. There's another one called UFC Strike, and I know that we've dropped this in the chat. Same thing. It has interesting thing. If you were able to get into this, they actually refunded you all your money that you used. You could have bought up to 5 packs. And because something went wrong with their initial drop, they refunded all the money to everybody. And then they gave you 3 bonus cards. So I was like, what? So I used the money from here for NFL All Day because it's like, why not? But this is my UFC Strike, same thing, collections. For me, this is NFTs. This is NV, and I'm starting doing V drops. But the reason why I'm talking about NFTs and everything, and kind of starting with that, is because overall, this is kind of the picture of where I see, like, how does this going to work? In terms of one of the ways for crypto to work, I don't really care overall in terms of how the price works. You have to be a fan, okay? So understanding how fans work, fanatics. Fans are people that will buy products, right? And they don't care really too much about the prices. They'll just buy it because they like it. They like the sport. They like the person. They like the player. Like whatever. So at the end of the day, when you understand how fans work, let me get this over here. When you understand how fans work, then you start understanding that, okay, here's where this is. Let me make sure I'm in all these different like sort of packs. So like something that I personally like is flow. So I'm going to go into that right now. And before I even go talk about Bitcoin or anything else, I just want to go into this. So flow is one of the coins that I really like. Now, why do I like flow? One of the price action irrelevant. Currently, actually, if you buy flow right now, this is the price that I actually was originally able to buy it at. You can see it just did a double bottom. So if you believe it's going to go up, it's 83% down from all-time high, 58% down from the low, which was like a couple days ago. Wow, jeez. But something that Flow's doing is they're making it easy for regular people to get into crypto. And this is how I see it, right? I don't pay attention to the people that are already in crypto. One of the reasons why I don't pay attention to people that are already in crypto is because they will work through like hell and high water to get into things. So like whether it is the new NFT that's dropping or anything else, I'm looking for places that are making things completely easy. To me, that's flow. Based off of what they've done so far with Top Shot, NFL, and UFC, I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing. This is their primary markets. NBA Top Shot is roughly about 50 million in NFTs, and then 50 million NFTs with 90 million in sales. This is a volume that they have all the time in the flowverse. And you can see how much money is kind of flowing through flow, right? And for me, I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is actually something that I want to get part of even more so, because for me, when I see flow, what I'm paying attention to, like I said, is how easy is it for the regular person to start buying NFTs, right? So back to here with NFL all day, I'm looking at the NFT as the card, and like I said, officially licensed partner of the NFL, so the National Football League Players Association, NFL Properties, Dapper Labs. So this is NFL Properties, and it's also the players. So that means that there are players who are actually being able to get money as well out of this. So for me, I look at it, I'm like, this makes sense. So when I look at the flowverse and I see what's going on here, this is not something I want to miss out on, right? So you can see NFL all day, nothing yet. I will guarantee you, I'll put money on this, that this will rise to number 1 or number 2 before, like, by the time they release it. And this is a UFC Strike, already made 5 million, right? NBA Top Shot's 90 million. It's been around for almost 2 years. This is the first year. 800, almost $1 billion in total sales. I can guarantee you that the NFL will put that out over the next couple, I would say not even like by next year, you'll see this up here in the billions, because we spend a lot of money on football, right? You can actually buy team NFTs too. And I found this one interesting. Where's the New York Giants one? And I could have bought this, but I really didn't want to, because I saw it. I'm like, I get it, but I don't get the point of it. Here it is. And these are all like when you get part of the betas. So like this is the New York Giants the New York Giants are minting NFT. So this is the team. This is the NFL property minting through Flow NFTs, and what it was this. So commemorative coins, 50th season, 60th season. As you see the price of this, right? Sold out, right? The New York Giants had one too, and I was just like, like the one thing about NFTs and how, for me, the way I see it is like, I'm only gonna buy things that I actually like, that I'm willing to keep. Like if no one else buys it, am I willing to keep this, right? Because this is $949, so you spend $1,000 on this commemorative coin that's on here. The question is, can you sell this, right? Can I sell this for 2? Right? I'm not much of a fan when it comes to any of this. I know that the average fan will buy like packs like this that are more so like players playing and whatnot, like plays. But like when it comes to these commemorative things, I know there's people that will do that. I'm just not one of them. But you can see in terms of Flowverse what they have going on. So for me, when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at upcoming drops. So you can look at this at flowverse.co. I'll drop this in the trade room chat right now. So if you guys are like wondering where it is, boom. So Flowverse. So I just dropped it in the trade room chat. There we go. And so you guys can go on it, and the next thing they have is upcoming NFT drops. So this is like, for me, like I said, I'm looking for what's easy. Tupac Shakur, That's easy to get into, right? So let's see. Because this is the stuff that Dr. Zeus, the cat in the hat. Sissibles. This just dropped. Go to drop, right? I wasn't participating in this. You can buy this through your Apple Pay. It's an NFT built on the Flow network that you can buy through Apple Pay. And you guys, like, you have to see the way this is. Don't start looking at it from a perspective of like, yo, how easy is this? Right? Think about the person up the street that has nothing to do with crypto. You think they're buying this? You think that they know they can buy Dr. Seuss collectibles and Seussibles off their phone for their kids and wallpaper and all this stuff? You don't think they're buying this? Like, understand there's a market here that's sitting in here that all you gotta do is open your eyes and see, right? For me, I missed that one. I knew they had Dr. Seuss. I just wasn't even thinking about that. So this one's tomorrow. So there's a UFC Strike tomorrow on the 15th. So you can get into this. This drops on the 15th. It'll be probably like $50. So this will be the final drop of the Series 0. So realistically, at this point, Series 0, this will be the final drop. There'll be no more Series 0. So all the ones that I got were Series 0. With Series 1 starting with near 30,000 packs, $50 a pack. The release date is the 15th of February, but the time is to be determined. This drop will coincide with the marketplace launch of UFC Strike. So at that point, I can now sell my duplicates because the marketplace is going to be here. So look at my duplicates, duplicate, right? Guess what I'm doing with my duplicates? They're getting sold. And this is free because think about it. They gave me back my money. So now I have these cards. I got to sell them. So that's UFC Strike. So I'm just taking a look with you guys because at the end of the day, these are good. These are interesting NFTs to get part of that are not that aren't too hard for you to get into. Like this is what like I said, this is how I pay attention to it. Like I look at it as how hard is it for people to get into this? Not hard at all. I'm showing you it. NBA Top Shot has 2 releases. All-Star Elite Pack release. That's gonna be a good one. Crypto Pharaohs, the early Pharaohs. Let's check that one out. I saw a Tupac one. I just wanted to see that because Tupac is. Let's see this. So you can get a Disrupt Art Total Editions 1. So this is artwork, right? A rare photo of Tupac, right? This will probably sell for something, but I'm pretty sure this is one. This is a 1 of 1, and this is being created on the Flowverse, right? So you can go to the Flowverse, you can go to where they're dropping it, and you can buy it there. So there's different places other than OpenSea, which is cool. Because like it makes it simpler to know that I don't have to just go to OpenSea. I don't have to pay these Ethereum fees, right? And this comes up to you whether or not you want to participate in this. You don't have to participate in this, and no one's telling you have to participate in this. But like for me, I look at this and it's like this is pretty dope, and like this is really dope. Seussibles Hop and Pop is coming out, right? I got kids. That's something I can look at. Go to Goats. Crypto Pharaohs. I want to see what this was. This is in 8 days. What did I just see? The early Pharaohs drop is 739 available to claim from $377 each. To enter the drop, you will need to be on a wait list. which can be attained through following the instruction of the website. Crypto Pharaoh's description. Crypto Pharaohs begins a collection of 7,000 majestic NFT collectibles with aspirations to be a game as your journey unfolds. So this is pretty much what they're working on, and you can check it out right here. But like you can see the quality of the website that's coming out and what's happening and all this. And if you're into the whole Egyptians and pharaohs, there you go. This is for you. Available to claim. They have no price yet, but eventually they'll have some sort of. I'm sure this. I'm actually 100% sure there'll be some sort of price tag on this too. Rare, super rare, ultra rare, legendary. I'm sure even like there'll be a price tag on this. If the going rate for a drop is 377 right now, you best believe that people are going to make their money back. But it's like, how is this a marketplace? Is there a niche here? Are there people that want this? I don't know. But see, this is not something I'll probably purchase, because for me personally, I don't really care. So that's me. But like for you, you might be like, oh man, pharaohs. I like pharaohs. I like Egyptian art and all that other stuff. Cool, go ahead. What else we got? And there's one more I want to check out, which was this Genesis drop. So yeah. So you can see in terms of the way that they're technically, to me, like Flow's reminding me of like Nintendo, and that's how they're trying to build themselves. Where you go in there and you're seeing the projects that they're working on. They're a lot of family friendly stuff. But the thing that I'm seeing is that they're working on a lot of stuff that I see regular people getting into. So let's just see exchanges. So these are exchanges that they're working with. These exchanges you can get Flow. Collectibles. So these are all the collectibles. Ballers. So here's another one, like the JPEG, like CryptoPunk type of style, right? Season 10,000 generative basketball NFTs found on Flow. So here you go. 0 gas fees. Transfer, marketplace, offer, accept. So this is something that you can go look at and understand more about. But I definitely like. This is why I like Flow, because like I said, for me, Flow, like when I'm looking at Flow, I'm just looking at how easy is it for people to get on here and start doing things. I think that as we progress through time, you'll see more people get more stuff from Flow. That's how I see it. And then as this continues to increase, right, I'm looking for the market cap to continue increasing, right? Because right now, most of this market cap is all coming from NBA Top Shot. So at some point, we'll see more. Anyways, let's talk about Bitcoin. What the heck is going on? And all that groovy stuff. All right, so let's get rid of the Bollinger Band. I was testing something out here. I'm always testing something with strategies and stuff like that to kind of see like more, like there is no like perfect way to trade. So like if you're ever like looking for like the way, there is no way. There is like, you have to kind of go to it and kind of figure out how you see it. My goal is to show you guys how I see it. Okay, so monthly view, we can see what's happened here. Let's go from this low here to this high here. We can see that we got to a 50%. Here's a 618. So what do we see here for just looking at this large time frame? For anyone that is brand spanking new, you can see low, higher low. Here's a high, higher high. So what do we have? So we have low, high, low, higher high. So far, higher low. So what do you think comes next? Should be a higher high, right? That's normally what comes next after all that. Looks like a smiley face or Krabby Patty. So normally whenever this happens, we should see a higher high. I've talked about the running flat correction that's happening, and I've broken that down so many times, so I'm not going to break it down again, because it's kind of like that thing that's like, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. What I did want to talk about last week that I didn't get to talk about because of VV golden drop moments tomorrow. That's good to know. Thank you thank you. I'll make sure I'm in front of my computer. I got that Luke Cage moment. I was happy about that. All right, so what I did want to talk about is what happens with the running flat correction. Okay, because normally what ends up happening is it can be what's known as a 3 drive pattern. So like a 3 drive pattern is where it hits like a running top. So like this. I won't draw it up. It's like something like this, where it hits like this, and a 3 drive pattern to the upside. So what happens is like this. Okay, let's hit the path. So we're going up, down, down, and then it comes up one more time, makes a higher low, and then breaks. And so this is generally how it looks like. So the running flat, so I'll explain this to you, because there was different ways that this can end up going. And because it can go these different ways, you need to understand it. So let's drop down to the weekly. Because overall, like what we're trying to pay attention to, I don't really care in terms of, I'm waiting for Bitcoin to make a decision, because Bitcoin's the thing that's actually holding us up from like what's really going on. And that's kind of like the bigger picture. So I'm not going to go into the whole little small time frames. I'm gonna break it down as if we are running a running flat correction. So if we are, then the general consensus of this correctional wave should be like this. So this, right? So all that supposed to happen is this, where you go corrective trade down, you come up, it breaks, and then you have one lower high, and then this is supposed to break out. That's what's supposed to happen, right? So if that's what's happening, then that's what should be happening. But what do we see here? Okay, so let's break it down in terms of what we're seeing is happening here. We did break this localized level here. And if you guys remember, at one point I was talking about, like, if we were to head up, these areas are where you're looking at TPs, right? These areas are natural good areas for TPs as we head up. So like, here's our first area for TP. So it's no wonder that we came up and we rejected off of it. So at this point, the easiest thing to do is just always place your fib, right? Like the easiest thing to do is just place your fib and wait. And so like, if it's going to correct, there's multiple places where it's going to correct, but the most sustainable place, or the best place where you're going to find it, like where you want to see it correct down to, is here, this $39,000 zone, right? But in order for it to kind of do that, it would need to now break out. And like for me, I would love it to retest and then come down, or retest into this 236 and then come down. That's what I would love to see. It doesn't mean it needs to happen, right? Because at the end of the day, then all we're doing is we're circulating and getting ready for the short for this week. So what we should expect is that it should be going down. There is news this week. So let's go into the news just so I can show you guys like why I'm anticipating a drop. It kind of makes sense. We have FOMC tomorrow. They're gonna be talking about they're gonna be talking about inflation and all that good stuff. That generally causes the market to always drop. PPI, which is the core inflation number as well, is going to be on Tuesday, which is going to be even more dropping in the market. Wednesday's reversal, so we'll probably come up. And then Friday's continuation. And then from there, the G20 meetings happen. So at this point, like the biggest thing that's kind of happening right now is that they're doing what's happening in Ukraine and Russia, right? So the biggest thing that when you understand like what's going on, like global powers are shifting. People are talking about what's happening, like, oh, are they going to go to war? Are they not going to war? These are all speculative, right? What happens in speculative markets when there's speculation going on about war? Well, generally speaking, one of the reasons why you can see oil prices shooting up is because of the fact of what's happening right now in Russia, right? There are rumors of wars going on and people are talking about it and people are hearing about it, but here's what happens when there's that type of thing. right? Gas prices are starting to go up. This is causing, one of the effects of this was Russia, but we can see that this is happening right now, right? Irrelevant towards what's happening in Bitcoin, I've always said Bitcoin will do its own thing, but what I want to get you guys to understand is that if that's what's happening, then there's a good possibility, that this move did its job, right? Made a higher, we broke this. That was actually what the job of this is. So now, if there's two things that can end up happening. One is that this could have been an Elliott wave cycle from here. All right, so one, select the here, here, third wave, here, and then just a bit higher when it realistically is just getting ready to just slam down. So it could do something like this week. This is a possibility, right? But realistically, all this is getting ready to do is just get ready to slam down, right? Now, no one ever knows the future, so don't be like, oh, well, Manny said it's going to go down, so it's going down. Because at the end of the day, here's where I'm looking at for a TP, which is 52, and I'm looking for it to get into there. I would like it to get into here, break all this, and then come down. Like for me, this is what I would like to see. The reason why I would like to see that is because this would, other than the fact that you can catch a really good long off of this, like this is an amazing point for a long. The other thing is that at this point, people will become more bullish than they are right here. Let's take a look at the fear and greed sentiments. Fear and greed. And that will tell us what's kind of going on overall. Like, where are we in terms of Bitcoin? So we're still fearful, which we should be, right? Like at the end of the day, there's absolutely nothing about this market that's saying that we're going to shoot up and go to the moon. So it's not the time to be bullish yet. We're like, it's still like, okay, we broke one barrier. Cool. That's amazing. Can we get into this? Can we get into this zone here? Right. I want to see us get into this zone. So at the end of the day, if this is how the waves go, then for me, I would love to see this, which is one of those like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, huge, and then pull back, lower high, come back down, retest some level here, right? Doesn't even need to come this low again. Like at the end of the day, it doesn't really need to come this low. It could break this 4 and then make a new high. At the end of the day, I really don't care at that point. It's completed the assignment of this bullish behavior. The other thing is that if it's bullish behavior, the common thread of all bullish behavior in Bitcoin is that it actually never does a shallow retracement. You can go back and do your back testing on it earlier. So like if you go back to, and I'll show you where to go back to. Go back into when 2017 happened, into lower timeframes, and go look at the lower timeframes here. Right here, as we were heading up, and look at the retracements. Okay, not on the higher time frames. Look, if you look at the retracement, so if we go from like, this has always been the biggest thing. If you go from here to here, this is a low retracement. But now let's go from this point here, right? This is the lowest closing candle here. Here. And our retracement rate 50%. So it comes up, continues. Most often, it will always get this point and then continue. And like, but this was one type of bull run, right? Filled with shallow retracements. I don't even shallow retracement. Like, look at this. It ended up coming down, but it never really went down and closed down. On the 2-day, it came back up and then chilled out at 382 and then shot up. So when we're looking at this and we're seeing how this works, we're like, man, this is very interesting that it always does the same thing. So right, I'm gonna give you guys like this. We have an area where we can look at. Here's another one. So from here, from this little high to this little high, and we can see shallow retracements. Nothing but shallow. So there's no 886 retracements. No, what I mean by shallow retracements is like the upper half, so above 50%, no 886s, none of that, right? So let's go from here to here. Here. Another shallow retracement. So you can see the fact that lots of shallow retracements happening, right? And even down to, so like when this happened, right? Look where we stopped. Another shallow retracement. Even like here, all that shallow, right? The only difference between what happened here and what happened here is that we didn't make a new high. But if you looked at this and you were following this type of trend, you would have bought, right? Buy, 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 buy. The only difference is that this did not make a new high. Once you make that shallow retracement, you can see the fact that we don't make a new high where we did here, 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 okay? Heading back up. Now that we're here, this is a completely different bull market. But if there's similarities in bull markets, right? You're not looking for the exact same. What you're looking for is the similarities, right? So once you can see what kind of happened in this point here. So, all right, so let's look at this. So this is the last little bit that we had in terms of when the bullish tendency started. What do we see? So here's our first, here's a kind of our first high to low, right? And what happens? Well, see how you have this high and then it starts going down and then you have a low, but it's a lower high than here. And then see what happens when we get back up to our first kind of point. What kind of happens? It rejects off of there, as it rightly should, gets to the 236, comes up, hangs out, and no retracement, right? No, like very, very shallow retracement. You go here, nothing but shallow retracements. 236. Very, very interesting. Because when you start looking at this from that point of view, we actually never had a retracement that went past 236 until here. This is the first retracement from here to here that got past this 236. So for me, when I look at that, that's not a coincidence. This is a very bullish behavior, and you can see where it retraced down to. We retraced right into the 50% 618. Looking familiar, right? No coincidences here. You have to understand, whenever the market's doing these things, it's not coincidental. It's very like, it does it on purpose. So now from here, we're going to measure from this point, right? Which is the lowest point in the market. And you can see what happens here. This is technically a deep retracement, right? This is what market structure is like. So it's like, here we go. Here's your low point. Here's your high point. Here's your 886. So from this point here, this has been my area that I've said, all right, so this is my area of support. This market should not go any lower than this, because at the end of the day, we came to the 50% 618 here. And I showed you the tendencies of how it does, what happens when it does that. But we've never done an 886 retracement from this to this. So at this point right now, what are we looking for, right? Because I can actually spread this out even more. And you can say this is an 886 from here to here, but this is all localized levels. What you're actually looking for is, did it just bounce off support? This is a higher low than here. At this point right here, based off the reaction of how it bounced, this is a higher low. So the question is this: does this just continue down into here and wipe all this out and get into like here? Or does this come up and then start doing its bullish behavior where it doesn't even give you a full retracement until the ending, right? Like if you look at this, this didn't give us a full retracement until up here, where it was a large retracement, right? So if you were to do the calculation of that, so price range, This gave 1,500%, 1,600%, and then took back 50. So for anyone that's like, oh my gosh, Bitcoin is in a bearish market. Really? It is? It gave you 1,600%. You didn't take profit twice, right? But realistically, even if you didn't take profit, if you got in at this point here at the pandemic in 20, and if you didn't, then oh well, it's not, this message is not for you. This is, you still got 700%, right? So all right, that's irrelevant. You missed your chance. Now we're here. You're still up 1,000%, right? Give or take. What do you do? Well, I'm looking at this and I'm like, there is no way that we should be, personally speaking, there is no way that I think that we go down and sweep. The only reason why, because fundamentally, that means we're here. And I'm okay if we're here. At that point, oh well, that's what happens, right? Like, what if we're here? And I'll show you something. What if we're here and we made this, we didn't make the high, we made the higher low, right? But we're actually getting ready to just keep on making lower highs until it really gets close and then breaks. And I'm just giving you guys like a really bad scenario in terms of like, this is like the, let's call again, the ultra bearish scenario. Like what if it's like, this is what's happened already? It doesn't need to look the same, but you can see the double top, right? Then continuation down, comes back, makes the higher low, but refuses to make the higher high. And at that point, you're just holding on for nothing, right? The moment that it can't make a higher high, right, at any point, that's when you're looking at it and saying, ooh, like for instance, like here, like the fundamental differences is like here, I'll show you this. So we have, if this is your downward momentum, here's your upward momentum. Here's your break, right? We come back and retest the break. So, and this is where you gotta understand, like Bitcoin moves just a smidge differently than like traditional markets, and like I factor the stuff in. Here's your break. Here's your test of break. Come back up, but we didn't break this. So did we make a higher? Do we make a higher? Do we break the structure here? Was there a break of structure? No, right? So what am I getting at? You can't break a structure. Then at that point, this is what you're looking for you to be like, I'm out. You never can get the top. That's pretty much impossible, right? What you're looking for is a change of momentum or a change of swing, right? Even when this happened, right? Here's your imbalance in the market. So there's two things you're looking for in this imbalance. You're looking for a reaction, or you're looking for price to drop down. Or you're looking for a reaction to go down, or you're looking for price to break through. Either or. So either it's going to go down or it's going to break through. But look what happened. Came up, reaction, came down, and even that last push up took us right up to 17, cleared the liquidity one more time, and then came right back down. And at that point, that was your end, right? It didn't make the new all-time, it didn't make a new all-time high. So it didn't break that structure there. Even though before, I'm giving you guys so you guys can see like how this looks. What does a break of structure look like in Bitcoin? Like, what are you looking for Bitcoin to do when you're waiting for these times for it to do something? You're looking for it to break the high. That's all you're looking for it to do. That's all it's supposed to do. At the end of the day, if it breaks the high, you're good. See, even like here, we break, come back down, come back up, and then make a higher low, right? And like, let's go from there to there. And see like this deep retracement. still doesn't really close. It's still a 50% 618. It wicks down into the 786, but like this is still the box I'm counting. Okay. And I'm just giving it to you straight, like you guys can see it over and over again. More breaks. The reason I'm spending time on Bitcoin is because I talked about flow. Flow's the coin that I'm looking at, right? But Bitcoin is like, if Bitcoin doesn't do anything, then realistically, like I said, you're not trying to look for coins. You're trying to find out what Bitcoin's doing, because until Bitcoin does something, then all you're doing is just dollar cost averaging into the projects that you like. I gave you another project that I like, which is Flow, and what they're working on. So you guys can understand, like, oh, okay, this is so what, like, until Bitcoin does anything, realistically, there's nothing quick, no quick moves in the market until Bitcoin does something. I'm just giving you guys straight. So like you guys can see it over and over again. Keeps on doing the same thing. Right? But what do we see? Breaks the structure, keeps on happening. When it's bullish, right? You see break a structure, continuation. But you can see what the differences are. Here's another one. Comes down. So from what we have here in terms of the data, we have 50% 618. No break, no clean break. Lower high, continuation down. Right? And you can stretch that right across. And if you stretch it right across, what do you see? Until it breaks it, right? This area becomes resistance here and then becomes support here. And this is like what's going on is the flippening of resistance to support. So I'm going to get into that right now. So what happens, right? So support comes up, doesn't break, comes back, support. Uh-oh. Break support, resistance. Localized resistance. We know there's a resistance right there. Breaks out, comes up, higher low, comes out, breaks, doesn't close back in. At that point, you're good. And this is where, like, when you're playing Bitcoin for the long game, you have to see things like this, right? So, okay. So this is our last low. It's our last high. If the same thing we're looking at is right around here, then if price gets below this right here, you aren't looking for it to catch the 886. Like in terms of buy, you can sell it down, right? At this point, it is now bearish. You can sell it down to wherever it needs to go, right? And even if it's like to here, and once again, I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to 11,000, but even if it's to here, you can sell it straight down. And then until it gets up here again, this would turn into not support, but resistance. So right now, this area is a major support. This is why I was like, it could wick down, but it should come back and close within it. And that's the one thing. Okay, so that's the 2-day kind of going in, just showing you guys in terms of more what I'm seeing. And that way, when you're looking at the market, you can look at it differently and assume and take your own positions. Okay, so as we kind of go deeper into this and go into these localized levels, do we break structure? Okay, so that's number one. Do we break structure? I go off of the flats, and it's like we can break the flats, we're good. Is there a clear high or low here? High or high? Yes. Right. Here's the break. For me, this is a break. Break, close above. Even if it comes back in the candle, I'm okay. We broke, closed above. Right. So on a localized level, we took out local liquidity here. Then we took out the liquidity right over here. So the money that was sitting here got taken out. Right. And if you guys remember how I like looking at money, put my dollar signs. Dollar sign, dollar sign. Boom. All right. So we took this out. This is resistance. All right. So at this point, this area is resistance. Let's turn it red for resistance. So what do we have for support? On this daily time frame, we can go from this point here to this point here, and here's your 382. If this is going to be a shallow retracement, this is where it turns, right? Now, could it wick down into here? Yes. Could it wick down into here? Yes. But it needs to come back here to gain support and come back up and go up, right? So whenever you're looking at the market, that's why I was saying, I'm like, if you just look at this right now from a point of view of Elliott wave structure, what do you see? You can see clearly that it's making some waves, right? Like this is some waves. If it's able to get out of here, there are two areas I'm looking at. One is this area. This is an area that is an imbalance, and it was a former area of resistance. But what you're always looking for is you're looking at former support. What do you see? What is this? Support. And it turns into resistance. So it makes sense that this would be a first resistance point for the market. This does not. Because if this market is going to continue going up, you're not looking for this to be a resistance, because this is where former resistance was. You're looking for this area right here. So see what's there? It's an imbalance, right? So what do you see the difference between this imbalance here? So what's the difference between this imbalance here and this imbalance here? Well, price came in here and came into that imbalance already. So to me, when I see that, that kind of tells me, where is this going to? It's going in here. This is where I'm looking for. Because for me, one, this is an area of support. It was an area of support. We broke underneath, imbalance, clear area of resistance, never came back and tested again. We've already come back and tested this. We've broken this level. We haven't broken the resistance, but at the end of the day, we've broken the local areas that were here. So at that point, for me, I'd be looking for this to turn into support eventually. Okay, so I'm going to show you something else. Make my case here. So let's go down on this section here. And replay. So let's go right to here. All right, so what do we see happening? Okay. Let's get rid of the running flat that's happening here. Okay. So if we're here, just so you guys can see what's going on, and you guys can see that this is not like, these are areas aren't weird that are just happening. Okay. So let's turn this green because it's support, right? The next area of support for me, if we were to break this area, I'd be looking right here. And then from there, I'd be looking right in here, in this zone right here. These are areas that I'd be looking for as supports. So let me go into my 4 hour, just because there's more candles and we can see more with it. Okay, so what just happened? See, do you see what just happened there? It broke through the floor of here and here and came right into here. Wicked right through, came back up, and then tested here. So what is this now? Resistance, okay? Because we already broke here. But this is still support because we came back up. So the question is, can we hold it? Nope. Resistance. Okay. So this is not support down here. And what do you see happening? So pause it. Extend this. Just so you guys can see. Oh, we broke through this. So let me turn this into resistance. Rouge for resistance. So these areas, now we got 3 areas of resistance happening here. Okay. So now that we've broken through this area of resistance, we've made this lower low. From here, I have 2 choices. Can I still use this as a good area? We are operating so close to our 100%. For me, I have to come down here because this is now 100. Boom. Now we're looking at this area right here. For me, this area is do or die. So let me just turn this color. This area right here. This is the last area that I'm looking for. If it cannot hold this area, then this is like Helm's Deep. This is the last zone of support. Right? Here's your 786. I'm looking for that area too. But realistically, you can see how everything's becoming resistance here. So we're in February. We just boom. We're in February. We're in February. Okay. So let's get rid of the fib again, because the fib is useless. The fib is just a measuring tool, right? So it shouldn't be telling you all this information, but it is. These areas are becoming support and resistance. Okay, so let's see. Continue watching it. So clearly this is an area of resistance. And so you guys see what happened? So break, support, take out the buyers who had limit orders there. Take them out, come back up, higher low. From there, we start making the case. Is this thing heading up? Break structure happened right over here. Okay, so what do we have? We have a clear break of structure. So I'm replaying this for you guys. So you guys can see, like, okay, I can see why it shouldn't, like, at this point, it shouldn't be making its way down, because if you look at it, here's your low, here's your high, higher low right over here. And this is 4-hour structure. Even if you're looking at Elliott wave counts and you're like, here's a 5 wave, doesn't matter, because it's the bigger narrative always wins. So when you're looking at it on 2-day, a 3-day, those are the ones that win. Okay, so let's go. So what do we see? The same area that was once support is still resistance. But look at the areas that are making up support again. What do you see here? What was this? This is support. This should be a support. When we broke underneath it, right? What shouldn't it have been? So it should have turned into resistance, right? When we broke underneath it. But instead, it turned into support. Because when we made our way above, at this point now, it shouldn't be making its way back below, because the fact this is an area of support. We should be turning around here, right? Boom, 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 boom. At this point here, this is where we could have made our way down. Here's our imbalance, right? And it's gonna start getting messy if I keep putting stuff. Here's our imbalance. You can see the market mitigated off of there a couple times, took everyone for a spin thinking it was going to go down. Maybe it's doing a consolidation. Maybe it's doing a distribution cycle to get ready to push down. Nope, goes up higher, right? Comes down, comes down, comes down. What are we doing here? So it's either that we're going to come up and break this support, break this resistance, or we're going down and breaking the support. One of the two things have to happen. So when you're looking at this from the higher time frame, for me, my bias is that it's going to break the resistance, not the support, because the fact that this should have been this. Because once we broke this, so like you can see it, once we broke out of this support and it turned into resistance, once we got underneath it, it should have happened the same way here. It shouldn't have turned into support, because what you should have seen is that market shoot down, right? This is just understanding like, okay, how's the market moving? It's moving differently. It's not moving always the same. Okay, so now that we are in today's day, overall, here's what I'm expecting for Bitcoin. All that to say this. Here's what I'm expecting for Bitcoin. I'm expecting to hold some sort of support level, right? So if it's this support level at 40,000, then that's what it is. Is there a fib point that's there? Let's see. So I'm going to go back to my 2-day because I like trading on higher time frames. And I think when you're on less, it's easier to spot pinpoint, like here is the low, here's a high, cut the noise, here's your 382, here's your 50% 618. Ain't that interesting that it goes to 50%? So could it come down? Yeah. Could it just start turning? Yeah. It can do whatever it wants, right? But now looking at it like this, where do you think it should turn around? So if this is your resistance area, okay, and we're looking at this logically from the point of being if you're gonna sell it, right? So if you're planning on selling Bitcoin, where do you think you want to sell it from? This point right here, last down candle before prior up move, last up candle before prior down move. Here is your mitigation point. It hasn't really mitigated from that candle, right? And if we're really looking at selling it, right, and it's not going to be that, and it's not going down for a long haul, then I'm selling it in here at 43. So like for me, I'd be looking for it to get up into here and fail. If it fails here, then I'm looking for this. So on terms of a path, you guys can see it. So boom, continuation, hit this, give me some sort of, even if you wick down, I'm okay with you wicking down, come back up, and then continuation. Whoa, that went the opposite way. Then continuation. So I'm looking for something like that to happen, which if we're looking at retail patterns, that is an inverse head and shoulders. I'm normally looking for those because they often show up when the market's going to reverse. But also if this is going to be like, if this follows with like on this 2-day, if it follows through with like what's happening here, it doesn't do any head and shoulders, right? These are on smaller time frames that you see this. So you shouldn't see this happen on this 2-day. What you should see happen is this, which just did one leg down, came up. I'm only looking for one leg down and come back up. I'm not looking for this on the 2-day. So I am looking for it to turn around here. And then at least break this area, right? So here's what I would rather see happen, because if I'm making a case for it to go up, right? So we turn this area from support to resistance, from support to resistance, so resistance back to support, okay? So I'm almost done. So what we're looking for is for it to come up, break, we broke, come back here, hold the door, break, here's the next area, but I'm not looking for it to be where it used to have resistance. I'm looking for, this is a bull market. If my narrative's a bull, then here is my next area that I'm looking for it to get into. before it has any resistance. So once we break out of here, for me, this is the next area. And then come back down into 47 because testing this area that was support, right? I'm not looking for it to test the resistances. I'm looking for the area to test for supports. This was a support. If it fails at this support that turned resistance, looking for it to bounce back up from here. So even if it did something like this, then continuation. The next area after, once it breaks out of here, is going to be right here, 65, right? So from 65, come back, test here, and then breakout. So, and if you look at like what we have here is what? Well, it's about 5 peaks. So if it's like here is peak 1, peak 2. So if you look at it, here's the first peak, here's another peak, and then here's the 5th peak. Right? Because at the end of the day, Elliott wave is very complicated, but it's not. It's meant to be like if you have 1, 2, 3, this is one wave. Here's a recycled wave, here's another wave, and then there'll be another recycled wave, and then one more wave down, which kind of matches my 5-wave series of it breaking, coming down to like here, coming down, making one more higher low, and then continuation up. So we'll see. But overall, what I'd be looking at right now for Bitcoin, if you guys are paying attention, boom, is right here. Continuation of it going up, starting to break structures, hold the door, gain back this area. Here's another area, right? You can see this right here. It was resistance, turned into support, right? Support. So at this point, for me, I would like to see it come out high, start making its case to make its way up. Like that's what it needs to do. If it doesn't do that, then at the end of the day, it's not going to hold this. And from there, not going to start just start looking for it to go down and catch it somewhere. At that point, it's a totally different chart. All right. So yeah, for me, Flow's a really good coin. I highly suggest you guys do your research on it. Start looking into it. It's at a really good price, $6.89. It has a lot of different things coming out within it. Make sure that you guys are doing your research on it before you invest into anything. Trading with real money does involve risk, and you can lose it all. So make sure anything you're putting in, you're losing it. You're ready to lose it. Check out UFC Strike. They got a drop coming up, and then also NFL All Day. Make sure you get on their Discord. You can get in. You can't get into the beta, but they will be releasing a marketplace soon. So like you can definitely get on it. But that's pretty much it. That was a lot of stuff. Hopefully you guys learned something. There's a lot of information that comes down to trading crypto and specifically trading Bitcoin. As you can see, like I can't really touch. I'm gonna show you guys like my crypto charts. Like there's nothing to talk about. It's all red. So realistically, all I can say is like go start finding your best cryptos. Hopefully you have some USDT sitting around and go shopping. That's like this is why I always have USDT sitting around. This is one of the reasons, because you never know when the market's going to give you a nice good old red day for you to start buying up some stuff, right? I think, like I said, I think this tomorrow, the FOMC and CPI and PPI numbers have to do with the overall US market dropping down until at least Tuesday, and then Wednesday, reversal Wednesday. Core retail numbers will probably bring it up. They're expecting higher numbers, and they've been giving nothing good. All right. Alrighty, that is it for tonight. Make sure you guys have a good one. You guys can watch the recording on YouTube. I'll make sure I drop it on there. Have a good one. Peace.